afterwards when we start talking. Give me one moment. Okay. So make sure everybody's muted as well. So we'll continue our work on intentional thought today. Intentional thought, which the common normal translation of this, or traditional translation from Pali into English, would be right thought, or another way to say it would be right intention. But, we're in the habit of getting out of terms of right and wrong. So instead, we can think intentional thought is what we're working on today. And traditionally, there's three components. We've worked on the first two. First one was renouncing our thoughts. The second one was intentionally cultivating goodwill, positive thoughts, healthy thoughts. And what we'll do today is cultivating or connecting to an intention for harmlessness. Harmlessness. Interesting way of phrasing it. So, begin the way we often do, by getting comfortable in our seat. Noticing the structure of the body sitting. Noticing the weight of the body. Noticing the kind of beginning status of the body, so to speak. So anything that's obviously feeling tense, and without trying to push it away, can I just bring a little bit of easeful attention to that area? Maybe some light movement or gentle movement to loosen something up. Shoulders or neck or hips, belly, face even. So softening. You can notice our kind of foundation of emotion and thought at this moment. What kinds of thoughts are we having? Even if it feels non-specific, is there an emotional tone to this moment? Positive, negative, neutral? Being curious for a moment about any particularly charged thoughts that are coming up, if they are coming up, and perhaps they're not. Are there thoughts here that are loaded with emotion? We can just notice them for a moment, soften the body to them. And now let's bring our attention to our breath. Today, noticing the breath down in the belly. Inhaling, belly expanding, feeling the pressure. Exhaling, belly contracting, feeling the looseness. If it feels helpful or supportive for us now, we can just count on the exhales. We'll do that by counting a long number over the course of the entire exhale, like this. 1, and inhaling without a count. 2, creating the count inside your head over the course of the whole exhale. 3. Notice we may repeatedly feel drawn by thoughts in our head, and we can repeatedly move back down from the head to the belly while remaining aware of what's going on in our head. Just allowing the repetition and intention to soften the mind over time. Not in one fell swoop as soon as we decide, but over the course of many breaths, softening a little each time. This is our base of the practice today. We can always return to this breathing and softening at any time. You feel the mind is softened enough to work with a little bit. Let's call to mind a particular, maybe hurtful or difficult thought that has been coming to us recently. Maybe we don't get it into a verbal sentence at first. Maybe it's an emotion. Maybe it's a recollection, a memory of something difficult that's been happening recently. Taking a moment to allow whatever feels salient, meaningful for you to come to you. What thought, what emotion, what memory have you been struggling with recently? As you call this to mind and settle on it, you might feel its impacts on the body. Check in. What do you feel in the body? You might categorize this feeling, this experience, with a word. Common words might be anger, shame, disconnection, sadness, fear. But perhaps it's something else. Perhaps it's difficult to describe with a word. Letting yourself honestly feel this and investigate, what is this experience that I'm having right now? Calling to mind this difficult thought or memory. Now imagine that you're describing this in your head to a dear friend. Just in brief, what words would you use to describe this difficulty? As those words come to mind, continue to check in with the body. How do they feel? Likely not so great, but important that we experience them now. As we continue to move along in this way, I'm going to begin a practice of taking one hand and on the inhale, tightening and squeezing the hand as tight as you possibly can as you hold the tension and difficulty and perhaps the pain of the situation. Over the course of an entire inhale, squeezing a hand. And each exhale, slowly softening the hand and opening it up. Imagining that you're slowly, over the course of each breath, just practicing letting go. Fully embodying the difficult emotion on each inhale, each squeeze of the hand. On each exhale, fully letting go and taking the exhale to the very bottom. If we feel we're having a little bit too much emotional activation, we can stay at the bottom of the exhale. And even when we inhale, not contract again. Remain relaxed over the course of a few breaths before taking up another inhale and squeezing the hand. Check in at the bottom of next exhale. What do you notice? How is it down there? Can you stay down there a little bit? Is there something below this difficult feeling that you're experiencing? Maybe it's not clear what it is, but maybe there's another emotion or motive or even a need, something that you feel like you need as a human being that lies below. It's okay if you haven't found something that is below. Just sit in the not knowing of whatever that is and breathe. Sit in the curiosity. And if you have found such a thing, notice how it feels to sit with this need or base emotion. What does it feel like in the body? Going forward, when we experience this difficult thought or contraction, we can contextualize it with this feeling, this curiosity of what lies below, or this understanding, or this feeling of what lies below our thought, emotion, reaction. Just taking another moment to lock that in. Feel it fully. You can begin to let that go and drop that where it is and just return to the breath alone. Perhaps counting 5 or 10 breaths on your way to begin to slowly close the practice with time. I'll quote the second and third great vows of the Zen tradition in closing, inspiring us towards more harmless thought. However inexhaustible illusions are, I vow to relinquish them all. However innumerable gates to truth are, I vow to enter them all. We can endeavor to continue to work with whatever thought or pattern that we've worked with today as we go out into the world, taking a particular attention to it towards a harmless thought. And at a moment that feels appropriate, you can feel free to begin to close your practice, maybe with some deeper breaths and small movements. Any closing intentions or thoughts you'd like to make. So this was a pretty personal one, pretty heavy one. And for our first timer today, so sorry that you had to join on